Some years ago, I heard this saying that you should never argue with a fool because from a distance, nobody can tell the difference. And that one really stuck with me. And that came up for me today because for whatever reason, I've had more than the average number of daily interactions today with people who want to argue with me that principles and success strategies are hard. That success is hard, that being successful is hard, and that principles are hard. And it's one of those things where I'm simply reminded that losers whine about not winning, and winners just seem to win. In my lifetime, I have also met many men who were once losers. Now they're winners. And I've met men who were once winners. Now they're losers. And I don't say that in the sense of labeling them and their intrinsic worth as a human. I'm saying that in the sense that if we're defining winners as men who are setting and accomplishing their goals, their life seems to be on an upward trend, and they have all the basic buckets checked for, and those buckets are growing and improving. And then I've seen people yo-yo. I've been through multiple phases in my life where I was a winner, then I was a loser, then I was a winner, loser, winner. I've been up and down. I mean, certainly not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, right? I was born in Ukraine, immigrated to America with a single parent, a mom, when I was 3 years old, and came up poor. And it just astounds me, at how much people and how hard some of you will argue for why success is so hard, or why you guys are such victims, or why, you could never be successful because of this addictions. Oh, you love your addictions. Or this or that. I'm going to make a video about addictions, by the way. I've overcome many addictions. By the classical definition of what we would consider an addiction, I've overcome a porn addiction. I've overcome an alcohol addiction. I've overcome a gambling addiction. See, I don't even see them as addictions. I see these things as behaviors we engage in to escape feeling a feeling. And we try to escape that feeling, and so we engage in something that gives us a massive dose of another feeling to overwhelm the feeling we're trying to avoid. Or we try to numb out feeling the feeling by engaging in whatever we're doing, right? So whether that's a numbing agent like alcohol, or whether that's a dopamine agent like gambling or porn, it's all just an escape-based behavior is all it is. I try to explain that to men, that that's not really an addiction. You're not an addict. You're engaging in a behavior that has now become repetitive and habitual, but it's an escape behavior because you don't want to feel a feeling over here. So you go over here. The problem is the more times you go over here, this just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it never goes away until you face it, address it, stand with it, stand in it. But no. It just simply astounds me at how hard people will argue for and fight for their labels of being a victim, being an addict. Oh, I was diagnosed with X, Y, and Z. when most of it truly is just symptomatic behavior that's rooted in escapism, suppression, or repression. And then when I try to tell people, and I try to help them, when I tell them from my own story, my own experience, maybe that's one of the reasons why I had to be the guy that went through all the things I went through in my life, so that when I sit down and I'm talking with somebody who's going through something, I can say, I know what that's like. I've been there. I've done that. I've engaged in that loop. You know, one of the biggest drivers, I believe, of escape behavior that gives us, releases of dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, whatever it is, all the chemical cocktails that we manufacture on the inside and we want more of. All those escape behaviors that we engage in and then we label as addictions, right? Alcohol, drugs, porn, gambling, and so forth, sex, etc. When we engage in them, in those escape-based behaviors to the level that they become, that then somebody might diagnose it as an addiction, what's really happened is that, I believe, is that we feel so much pain, so much fucking anxiety and pain over not living out our fullest expression and potential as a man. But we feel that potential. We know we have a capacity for, a potential for, and a natural innate competence for something bigger and greater than what we're living right now. And there's multiple pathways and reasons why we allow ourselves to fall into a trap where we don't take consistent action, where we don't stand and face any feelings that come up, feelings of inadequacy, limiting beliefs, so stories we tell ourselves, faulty, broken stories that we tell ourselves, so on and so forth. However, at the end of the day, and I think I do need to make some longer videos specifically about this whole topic, but at the end of the day, I believe that the fundamental root of it, the escape-based behaviors that then become labeled addictions, and then so many of us latch on to, oh, I'm an addict. That's why I haven't. It's just the fact that we're trying to come up with excuses, rationalizations, explanations, and defend why we aren't living our greatness, why we aren't elevating into the greatest version of ourselves. And it hurts us so much. It hurts us so fucking bad to ever sit in stillness or silence and hear that deep inner voice trying to reach us. It's like you almost feel shame and embarrassment at how you've treated yourself, right? How little you've bet on yourself, how you haven't gone all in on yourself, how you haven't respected yourself, how you haven't pushed for your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, how you've allowed your own magic to get dragged through the mud. And so we just turn to the bottle. We turn to the gambling table, right? We turn to the pill, right? We turn to the porn. We turn to the sex. We turn to these escapism-based behaviors to numb or to alleviate or to temporarily escape that nagging, overwhelming feeling, whether it's anxiety, shame, anger, self-loathing over living like cowards in the face of what we sense to be our own true greatness. And then somebody like me comes along, some curly-headed fuck on YouTube, and ends up in so many people's lives, and I share my story, and I share what I've gone through, and I share how they can do the same, and my God, some people will fight for their their victimhood, their labels, their diagnoses, their addictions, their whatever, their limitations. People will fight for their limitations so hard. And I don't even think we really believe them. I think what it is if that isn't true, then we come face to face again with the truth and the reality that we just chose to go that way and we chose to not pursue our greatness. And the pain of that is so deep and profound and great that we must have the victimhood. We must have the blame to give or put somewhere. We must have the addiction. Gotta be able to blame our genetics. Gotta be able to blame this or that. You gotta be able to do it so you can explain away why you haven't tapped into your full greatness. Yeah, that's where my head's at today. Been a long day. And sometimes I just look into the abyss at the conversations I get from people and I think to myself, my God, you are full of so much potential. There's so much in you that you're capable of. I can see it all over you. But no, you'll argue for this, for your limitation, your own limitation. Why not take that same zeal, energy, that same self-righteousness and fight for your greatness?